Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. As of me recording this, it is officially Thursday, October the 19th. Werewolf by Night in color comes out tomorrow. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for it. I'll just be, today's episode will be another review episode. I just finally got done watching Pennyworth Season 3, so this will be, a season overview as well as a series overview. What my opinions are on the whole series as a whole, and what I liked from this new season, as well as what could have been, as some of you know that the show has officially been canceled after its departure from Epix to HBO Max, and its rebranding of the title and everything. So this episode will be dedicated just to Pennyworth. Now, I will only be regarding this to Pennyworth because I don't like the name that they gave it, the origin of Batman's butler. That's just too generic, I think, because we all know who Alfred Pennyworth is. And so we'll just go ahead and get started. So I believe a few years ago, like a good year after the first season came out, I had a free trial for Epix, and I went ahead and sat down and watched the first 3 episodes of season 1, and I got really hooked on it. It was really good. I really loved it. And so I went out and bought and rented the first season. Because at the time, season 2 hadn't come out yet. So I had went ahead and gotten that and watched it, and I loved it. Just the origin story we're seeing of Batman's butler, Alfred. I really enjoyed this fresh take on the character. This is by far one of my favorite DC shows that we've gotten. I am sad that it is canceled. Season 1 kind of starts him kind of being like a bouncer at a club, just barely starting his business as at Pennyworth Security, the company he's making for himself. He is ex-military. He is, I believe, a little over a year or a couple years shy of just being out of the army, with his friends, Baza and Dave Boy. And they do Pennyworth Security together when Alfred is not being the bouncer at the club, which is where he meets the love of his life, Esme. We then find out that Esme gets kidnapped by Peg Sykes for this larger organization called the Raven Society, which is a group of idealists who want to try to better London the way they see fit and kind of rule it and take it from the Queen of England. So Alfred has to go break into this place and save his girlfriend. And then they later decide, after all that happens, he then later decides that they should get married. So they get married, and I believe Esme was pregnant as well, and they were going to have a kid. And then someone comes into their house and murders Pennyworth's fiance. So after that, he's kind of lost. He doesn't know what to do. And so he slowly tries to pick himself back up to try to save the rest of London from this evil society that took away his wife-to-be. We then find out later that his dad is part of the Raven Society, and that he is part of a mission to kill the Queen. So he hides a bomb inside of a cake, which he has a party at the Queen's palace to try to celebrate them coming up with an idea and trying to work together, only to try to kill her. Pennyworth, who then finds out about this, goes to crash the party to try to stop his dad, who doesn't succeed, and he ends up having to shoot his dad after he already presses the button detonating the bomb. He very luckily and narrowly escaped the explosion with the Queen in his arms. And that is pretty much the end of season 1. There was the scene where Peg and Bet Sykes kidnap the Queen of England. That was a huge part in season 1 as well. But season 1 ends with the explosion of the palace and Alfred rescuing the Queen from his dad. And that kind of picks up a year later in season 2. There was a 1-year gap between 1 and 2. I was hesitant going into it at first because I'm not a huge fan of the time jumps. Legion had a 1-year time jump between seasons 1 and 2 as well, and it was okay. I mean, it still came together real nice. And Pennyworth does the same as well. I just kind of wish we would have been able to see what happened right after, instead of having to wait a year and be like, oh, okay, so that happened, and then this happened. So season 2 is kind of more just filler stuff of what happens, more in the life of Pennyworth. It's still continuing with the Raven Society, led by James Harwood. Later in the season, James Harwood ends up getting killed by John Salt, who is a main factor in season 3, to try to overthrow the Raven Society, or retake the Raven Society, because they don't think that Ironwood was fit enough for it. Not Ironwood, I'm thinking Ruby. Harwood. They didn't think General Harwood was fit enough for the Raven Society, so he tried to take it from him. And Peg, of course, was devastated about this, liking Harwood. And there's more drama in there with Pennyworth and I think the Queen. Pennyworth ends up having a thing on the side with Sandra, who then becomes a singer by the end of the season. Martha and Thomas get married and have a kid. We first meet them in season 1, but season 2 kind of picks up their story arc a little more, seeing what Martha Kane does, being the agent she is, and Thomas Wayne kind of not knowing what he wants to do, trying to get out of his father's shadow at the company, trying to do this stuff for with Martha. Instead of getting married, and by the end of the season, we find out that Martha is pregnant and ends up giving birth to a daughter named Samantha, which was a huge twist to me, because I'm like, oh, she's pregnant, it's going to be Bruce Wayne. It was not. I was totally surprised that they included the daughter. I don't know if this will be like a different universe. Samantha is going to grow up to eventually become Batwoman or Batgirl. But I was totally thrown for a loop, because I don't ever recall reading in the comics anywhere that they had a daughter. I could be wrong. I haven't read a whole lot of the Batman comics. I've mostly just seen all the Batman films and TV shows, so I could be wrong. But I was completely blown away by that. I was for sure thinking, oh, it's this. And then they did a really good twist with that, the way they incorporated that. The main thing in season 2 is the Raven Society created this weapon that they were going to use in London, which I believe was like some kind of bomb of some type, and they're trying to manufacture it to I forget what it exactly was supposed to do. It was like a mist almost, and they couldn't find a way to disarm it, because evidently Pennyworth's dad, who he thought died after Pennyworth shot him in season 1, is still alive. And is still working for the Raven Society. And he is using his wheelchair and his breathing apparatus and stuff as the bomb to try to destroy London, to help the Raven Society, the group that he believes in, and kind of just screw his son over because he doesn't think his son's doing anything with his life. So Pennyworth has to try to grasp the fact with his mom that he's still alive, but then he has to go kill himself, or just to get rid of this, or figure something out, and they can't do anything about it. At the end, Gulliver Troy, the commander of the platoon that Pennyworth, Baza, and Dave Boy were part of, ends up coming in and swallowing it, which paralyzes and I think kills him temporarily. But that gives him enhanced powers, making him Captain Blighty, which we see more of in at the last 5-ish minutes maybe of season 2, and then most in season 3. And then at that same time, Martha's also giving birth. And that is 5 years before the events of season 3. I couldn't believe they did another gap, especially it being 5 years. I thought 5 years was kind of crazy. The Raven Society has been taken care of by this point. London won, thanks to the efforts of the PWEs, which they're calling people with enhancements. London is great again. At the last season, Pennyworth left Sandra because it would be better. He thought it'd benefit her more, so that way she can go live her life and take off with her singing career and stuff. And Pennyworth went his own way. So going into season 3, 5 years later, Martha and Thomas are raising their 5-year-old. She's 5 years old now, Samantha, and Mary, Alfred's mom, is helping babysit. Martha is still working as an M15 operative in the field, and also doing desk work. And Thomas is kind of just trying to lay back, be safe, because they want to make sure that they're around to be able to take care of their daughter. And then things kind of get stirred up when Thomas's dad comes into town with his girlfriend, Veronica, I think it's Veronica or Virginia, I forget. I think it's Virginia. They come in and crash because Virginia wants Thomas to try to kill Martha, because there was a mission back in season 1 where Thomas and Pennyworth were working together to try to kill someone who is working for with Aziz, the prime minister now, and they didn't do it. They didn't go through with the mission. And so they're trying to do this now and get it out of the way to try to solve their problems. But Thomas's dad can't convince Thomas about this, and it goes bad. Virginia ends up getting arrested. Thomas and his dad go back to Gotham after a long, risky business with a experimental drug called Lullaby that Wayne Enterprises is manufacturing, and Virginia slips it to Thomas. I'm kind of getting out of order here. Virginia gives Thomas the drug in his drink, and that makes him go crazy, and he almost kills Martha. Unfortunately, he did not succeed. Thomas went to jail and was imprisoned in the Tower of London. And Thomas's dad supposedly pays Pennyworth $1 million to break him out and send him on a flight back to Gotham to try to keep everything blown over, or wait till it all blows over. because obviously they don't believe he tried to. They think he was drugged. They're figuring out more about this lullaby drug that the government is working on. And it's just a huge mess. So they break him out, but they don't send him back to Gotham. So Pennyworth loses the $1 million. He then ends up hooking back up with Sandra for a little bit. Dave Boy meets the love of his life, and they hook up. And then Thomas decides that after the incident, for the betterment of his family, that it is best that he leaves and goes back to Gotham to take care of some business. When Thomas goes to Gotham, he then meets his dad, and then one night in an alley, he kills his own father, which I think is very ironic considering how Thomas and Martha die. I think it was ironic that happened, which they probably did for certain reasons. But Thomas ends up killing his dad and then ends up later going back to London to see his daughter Sam and his wife Martha. In the middle of this, Dave Boy and his girlfriend go to an art museum showing where this guy, this really weird guy who I want to say is a part of a cult. I think it's safe to say cult at this point, just based on what all was going on in that whole thing. And he wants to use the doctor who created Lullaby to use it to perfect his vision of what he sees as art. Unbeknownst to him, the lullaby drug can make some people psychotic and go on a killing spree, like it did at one of Sandra's music parties earlier in the season. It was just a mess. So they end up slipping Dave Boy a sip of it. And Dave Boy is way out of it for the next couple of days and forgets to give a letter to Pennyworth that Sandra had given him at the pub that they work at, which is essentially letting Pennyworth know that she's pregnant, it's his kid, and she wants to know what he's going to do about it. Dave Boy, being high off his ass on the lullaby drug, doesn't realize anything, and doesn't give Alfred the news. In the middle of all this, Bess Sykes goes on a killing spree, killing all the remaining members of the Raven Society, to try to track down and find John Salt, who is responsible for killing Lord Harwood, to try to get her revenge. She then kills this one family and steals the book from them that has all the names of the other Raven Society people and ends up taking their baby because she's that fucked up in the head. And Peggy then goes to her sister Bet Sykes to try to weasel some information out of her about if she knows where John Salt is. Bet reluctantly gives her the information, and she goes on her way with the kid, still in the stroller. And they track down John Salt. She finds John Salt and shoots him, only to find out that he is been repurposed as a part cyborg person. And they find out that he is experimenting on the PWEs, the people with enhancements. And so she has to try to stop this. She gets stabbed by this sword that comes out of Salt's wrist, but she uses it to stab him in the shoulder or the head, I think, finally permanently killing John Salt. But she's very severely injured. She takes the kid who was kidnapped with her as well to a bench outside the building where she finds a bus. She leaves a note with the kid on the bus that says, delivered to Bet Sykes. This is what we assume is the end of Peggy, or Peg, because then she then dies right there on the bench. And if I'm being honest, I'll go ahead and mention now, I kind of wish they would have just left her dead, because I felt like that gave her a good character story arc where she was able to redeem herself. You know, she did what she could. She stopped John Salt from the people, the things he was doing with the people with the enhancements. I just thought it was unnecessary that they brought her back in the second to last episode, or the last episode, which I'll get to. Because it just didn't feel right, in my opinion. Like it was unnecessary. So then we then go back to Alfred and the crew back in London. Thomas comes back, but because he left Martha is all shooken up and is questioning, you know, what all's going on? Is everything okay? You know, what's going to happen next between them? And they kind of have a little fight about it. And then they find out that a lookalike, or a PWE, ends up pretending to be Mary, Mrs. Pennyworth, and takes Samantha, unbeknownst to them. So then when the real Mrs. P comes in later, you know, they're thrown for a loop, because they're like, well, you should be at the park with our kid. Where's our kid? So, they then find out that, it was a lookalike, and, they contact Pennyworth to try to get down to the bottom of business. Things went about as good as you would think, in that scenario. But things eventually solved themselves. We then later find out, after a setup where they capture Thomas, Martha, and Pennyworth, that the doppelganger of Alfred's mom is actually Virginia, who is now a PWI. They let her experiment on her because, since she was part of the government, they're like, well, because I failed, the only way they'd let me come back or deal with this is if I let them experiment on me. So she now has power. She can shapeshift, and she tries to get Thomas to kill Martha, because that's what she really wants. And it was around this time that Thomas also confessed to Martha that he killed his father, which is her finding out for the first time, which is very shocking for her. And there's all this drama, and eventually Pennyworth frees himself with the help of a hairpin from Samantha, and he goes upstairs and stops the fight, and as he's about to, as he stops and reluctantly decides not to shoot Virginia, Martha grabs a gun and shoots and kills Virginia, saving Thomas. Now them both being killers. They then take some time and have everything resolved, and everything's good between them now. Pennyworth finds out about this mysterious news that he never got about Sandra, and is thrown for a loop. We then also find out that there is an enhanced that that is being held up at a location, and they want Captain Blighty, or Gulliver Troy, and Pennyworth and Dave Boy to go in and help Troy, because he is not well. He's dying at this point. They want him to go in and take care of this enhanced being carefully and quietly. And things don't go well. The enhanced that they're trying to that they're going up against ends up getting killed by Gulliver Troy. After Gulliver Troy sacrifices himself to destroy the power grid that the enhanced individual is gaining power from. Troy sacrificing himself with his dying wish, who now realizes that Pennyworth is going to be a dad, makes it his dying wish that Pennyworth settles down and has a kid and has a life for himself. And then they have a funeral for him. Alfred accepts this dying request from him and tries to make things right with Sandra, only for Sandra to say, I don't want you to be a part of this. I want to raise it my own. To which Pennyworth is very, very shocked about this. We then later find out that the guy from the art museum that Dave Boy and his girlfriend went to see is part of this cult thing. He kidnaps the doctor who created the lullaby drug and wants to use it for his own purpose. And he gives it to several of his friends, or as he calls followers. Again, further enhancing the cult thing. And he ends up wearing the mask from V from Vendetta, another DC film. We then find out his true purpose, which is to give it to all of London. So he puts drops in the town's milk supply and delivers it from house to house, so that most of London is affected by afternoon because they have milk in their tea. Because it's London and everyone drinks tea there, which is ironic because, you'd think, someone will put it in their water supply here in the U.S. Nope, they drink tea there in London, so they're going to put it in milk. So everyone drinks the lullaby virus, and they go crazy because of which they find out what triggers lullaby is the song that Sandra sings, Candlesticks and Caravans. Lucius Fox gets into some trouble and finds out that the government is trying to repurpose PWIs for different experiments and is partially using the lullaby drug and stuff to modify that or something. I think is what they were leading up to, but didn't fulfill on it. Or at least I thought that's what they were doing. So Lucius Fox breaks into level 7, frees all the enhanced people, which is where we find out that Peggy is still alive. We find out that when she came to, she thought she was being helped by doctors, that she found out that they weren't doctors. They were, experimenting on her. So now she has strength, which matches her charming personality. So Lucius and Peg get everyone out of the building with a little help from Martha. When they go to leave, they realize that the whole town is under attack because of the lullaby virus, including the Prime Minister. Alfred, who realizes what's going on, goes over to Sandra's place and tries to get Sandra to listen to him so that they can get out of there and escape. Although Sandra won't let him go until he tells her the truth and what he really thinks about everything that's going on, and what's happened. Eventually they make their way down to the pub where they barricade the street and try to protect themselves, and that's kind of where things end. The government that tried experimenting on the PWEs got trapped in their bunker in level 7. They tried contacting Aziz, who is on the milk virus lullaby, but since he's drugged up, he doesn't want to do anything. He's more angry and thinks that General Thursday is messing with him, and so General Thursday decides to have a airship come by and blow up London. Everyone at the pub, including Pennyworth, realized that nothing is going to get better. They need to retreat to the countryside. After making a quick announcement and convincing Sandra that he's changed and that he wants a kid, and they agreed to get married. They then run off to the countryside. They are in the middle of saying "I do" when the bomb goes off, and it destroys London. And that is where season 3 ends. I wish we were getting more of this. I saw some of the bonus features. I think the duty has case files is what they call them, which is like behind the scenes kind of. And they say that now we're going to have to look forward to, seeing, the aftermath of nuclear explosion and all that. So they very clearly had a plan of what was going to happen next. But because they canceled the series, we're not going to see that. I really hated this ending because it was so terrible because London's under attack. They never figured out what's going to happen with Lullaby. Bruce and Martha never had another kid. So Batman isn't even born yet. This is taking place in the 70s, this series. So, I mean, it could have been a while before, Batman would have been born, but still, I mean, you would think with a title, Batman, the Origin of Batman's Butler, or Pennyworth, the Origin of Batman's Butler, you'd think they would kind of, hint at the end of the show, it would show Pennyworth going on his own thing, and then Martha and Thomas having their second kid, Bruce Wayne. But the show never got to that, evidently. I'm mad that they did this. They pulled it from Epix to HBO Max and rebranded it, only to cancel it after one season on HBO Max. Like I said, this was one of my favorite shows. I really wish we'd get more of it. Unfortunately, I don't think we are going to. Especially now with James Gunn's new DC universe happening. I mean, if they could just label it Elseworlds, but I doubt that's going to happen. So this was my review and recap summary of Pennyworth. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode, there is spoilers in this. I'm sorry if you listened to this and got it all spoiled. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the episode. The show has been out for a while, though. But if you want to go watch it for yourself, there is some things I probably missed. And the show will greatly cover it in detail, better than I have. Because I'm butchering the thing up at this point. But if you want to watch it, check it out now. It's on DVD, it's on Vudu, wherever you get your shows. You could probably get it on HBO Max as well. So yeah, I really love this show. I really wish we would have gotten more. So let me know what your guys' opinions were on this show, what you would have liked to see in this show going forward if they did continue it. Just what your thoughts were. So until next time, this is me signing off.